What is up, my butter biscuits? Y'all, in today's video, we're going to be talking about Manny MUA with his new Lunar Beauty launch, which is titled Outer Dimension. A lot of people are having comments about this because the lack of inclusivity with the shade range, and I have a lot of things to say about this. There's a lot of opinions going on Twitter right now about this, and I just kind of am like, I'm in a middle type of place, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to explain why within this video, because he does touch on the topic of being a small indie brand, as well as the minimum order of quantity, the MOQ, and this is actually something that I do have personal experience with. I have went through, just in case you guys haven't seen in my previous videos before, like years ago, I tried to start my own brand, y'all, and it literally just could not happen because of specifically the minimum order of quantity. I've touched on this topic before here on my channel, so that's why I feel like with this specific topic, like, I kind of understand it. However, I do have some thoughts and opinions as far as his inclusivity and what he could have done better, but we're gonna go ahead and talk about that within today's video. So if you guys are interested in that, of course, go ahead and keep on watching. If y'all are new here, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so that we'll get notified when I upload a new video. Make sure I'll give this video a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Also, y'all, by the way, I just uploaded a new video on my second channel, so if you guys are interested in that, me and my homegirl Genevieve, we tried out the new Beyond Chicken, so it'll be linked down below if you guys are interested in checking that out. I'm gonna be way more consistent on there. Like I mentioned before, I have like 4 videos already pre-filmed, so I'll be uploading on there. I'm trying to like select a day. I just don't know which day to like upload on there. I'm thinking I want to do it like every Wednesday. I don't know yet though. I'm kind of working on it because I want to make sure that I have things lined up so that way I can be consistent with it, because y'all know I am very inconsistent with my uploading, especially on the second channel. So anyways, y'all, just wanted to update you guys about that. Let's go ahead and get into today's video. All right, y'all. So starting this off, this is what the outer packaging of the Outer Dimension face palette looks like. I just want to say right off the bat, I'm kind of thinking about filing a lawsuit against Lunar Beauty / Manny MUA, because that is clearly my face right there. Like, literally look at it. I feel like it's like identical to my face. Big, fat, and round. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I want to go ahead and talk about the inside here. So we have 10 shades within this palette. I want to go ahead and say right off the bat, this is something that I was actually really considering purchasing, because looking at it, I obviously did notice that, you know what, there is a little bit of lack of inclusivity with this palette. However, I didn't really want to judge a book by its cover, specifically because of this Lunar Beauty blush palette right here. I had made comments about this before in the past. Shout out to Renal Smith, she actually sent this to me. I had heard nothing but amazing things about the formulation of this palette right here, and I was like, you know what, I don't really wear blushes, so I don't know if I should buy it, you know. She ended up sending it to me, and I fell in love with this palette, but I have made comments about this before. Looking at the colors inside here, y'all, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't use like half of them, honestly. I feel like these light ones right here are just way too light for me, and actually getting it in person and putting it on my face, they come out on the skin so much more different than they look in the pan, so it really threw me for a loop. And that's why, looking at the Outer Dimension face palette, I was kind of like, okay, does the deeper bronzer / contour shades in this palette come out way deeper than they appear? Because straight up, y'all, I did my friend's makeup. She was Poison Ivy for Halloween, just like, what was it, like a week ago? And I used this one on her, and she is about 1.5 shades to 2 shades darker than me. And I used this light shade. You guys see this right here? It literally almost looks like an under eye brightener, like a rosy under eye brightener. And I used this on her, and it did show up really good. And her skin, like I said, is about 2 shades darker than mine. So these colors do come out way deeper than they appear. So that's why I was like, you know what, I wonder, and I kind of wanted to get my hands on this palette, but then, just to keep it real with you guys, I didn't order it because I'm no longer a freelance makeup artist, and there's so many shades in there that are just going to go to waste, and it's just not practical for somebody like me who literally only does makeup on myself now. Every now and then I'll do my friend's makeup, but that's it. I am no longer a working makeup artist in the field. So like I said, I just feel like so many things are going to go to waste. My whole thing about this palette, I just want to say right off the bat though, I honestly looked at it and I understood the concept right away, and I actually want to say I love the concept. So just in case you guys are not familiar with what's going on here, because I have seen several comments online of people being like, I'm so confused just looking at this. You have your bronzer / contour shades on the right hand side, and then you have a really, really deep shade in the center. That is basically to make your bronzer / contour shades customizable to make them deeper. So say for example, if you like the, let's just say the tan sky shade, but you want to make it a little bit more deeper, then you're going to take the dark sky and then, you know, make it a little bit deeper with that. And then same thing for the left hand side of the palette, which is the light side, which is the highlight side, the brightening side. You have that white shade right there in the center that you're going to dip into if you want to brighten up even more. Let's say for example, if there's a peachy highlighter shade on the left side and you're like, you know what, this peachy shade is just a little bit too dark for my skin tone, add just a little touch of the white to it, and it's going to make it customizable to your skin tone. Absolutely love the concept of it. Honestly, that's why I was like, oh, I kind of want to get my hands on this to do a review of it, because the concept is there. Like, I really, really do like it. However, when you look at the imagery of everything, it is not really inclusive. Like, if you look at the deep skin model, honestly, I classify her as kind of like a medium medium dark, not even a dark to deep skin model. It's just a little bit like not inclusive. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like everybody wants to see somebody who is more deep skinned than that. That way, you know that the brand and the product is going to be inclusive. You get me? I do want to touch on the topic of the MOQs as far as him not being able to be inclusive enough, because he does say in several comments, and I'll actually read some tweets from him, that he did try his hardest with this, but obviously him being a small indie brand, it's difficult to do. I just want to say, like, honestly, y'all, this is something that I have went through with multiple labs. Just in case you guys are not familiar, I tried to create my own brand years ago, and specifically because of this MOQ, the minimum order of quantity, it made it impossible for somebody like me to do, because it just cost literally like tens of thousands of dollars that I just did not have. And in order to come out with multiple shade range, oh, it's so expensive, you guys. Like, literally, it crushed my dreams, because I was like years ago trying to come out with my own brand, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and then they're like, oh no, like labs would be like, our minimum order of quantity is 15,000 per shade. Some labs were literally like 25,000 per shade, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if you want to come out with 5 different shades of lipstick and you have to purchase 25,000 of them each, it's just a whole lot. So I do want to say I understand Manny MUA specifically when he says about the minimum order of quantity, but I do want to say, with this palette, there is something that I totally would have done different. He knows that his target audience are like not, there are a lot of people who do makeup on themselves. There are not a lot of professional makeup artists, let's just say, you know. Yes, of course, I'm sure there is professional makeup artists out there who do use Learner Beauty. However, I do feel like the majority of people do makeup on themselves. So what I personally would have done, and what I think that Manny MUA had the funds for and the capability of doing, was to actually make 2 different palettes. Let's say a light to medium palette and then a dark to deep palette. You know what I'm saying? So that way he's completely inclusive, but then cut the shades in half, because he has this one palette right here that has 10 shades. Let's just say if he were to come out with one that has 5 shades, you know what I'm saying, or 6 shades, I feel like that would have been really good, because that would have been way more inclusive for him to do, you know what I mean, because he still has to pay for the individual shades within the palette. He didn't have to put 10 into one single palette, you get me? He could have done one that had, like, you know, let's just say 3 bronzers, 3 highlights, you know, that way you could be more inclusive with that. That's just my personal opinion. That's what I would have done, because obviously it does come across as not inclusive when you have this. But then also, like, I'm just gonna keep on saying over and over again within this video, I'm trying my hardest to not be like, you know, judging a book by its cover, because honestly, y'all, this Moon Prism blush palette right here really threw me for a loop, because these shades, I'm telling you, like I've told you guys time and time again, literally, what is wrong with me, several times I have done my makeup, I have used this pink shade right here, and this is the one that I complained about. I was like, that is so light, I will never use it. No, it comes out on my skin really good. So I really would like to see how these colors are going to play out in person, you know what I'm saying, versus images online. That's why I'm just kind of questioning. I'm like, maybe I should just buy it so that way I can do a review about it to see how much in depth the palette actually goes. But I do want to go ahead and read some comments from his Twitter, and then I'm going to play a clip from his makeup video. I cannot get my train of thought together today, you guys. Oh my gosh, his launch video. So this is a tweet right here that says, I'm proud of you being Mexican and being open and coming out with your brand. People might complain about shade ranges, but they don't know they can mix colors to customize/create, and the hard work and coin you personally put in. Not sponsored. And Manny responds to that and says, oh, thank you, baby. I'm trying my best. I really am. Compared to other contour palettes on the market, I think I did pretty good. And then he does post a picture right here of like Smashbox and KVD. And you know what? I will say, like, I did end up looking into other brands to just compare. And yes, there is a lot of brands out there who go really into depth, like Fenty Beauty. Y'all know I'm always shouting out Fenty Beauty because Fenty Beauty just does it right. But obviously, you got Rihanna on there, as well as, I believe, is it Kendall that owns hers? Or I forget which big company owns Fenty Beauty. And it's just like, y'all, they have all the money in the world to come out with every single shade range. You know what I'm saying? So it is a little bit more easy there to do that. But yeah, as far as like KVD, Smashbox, and stuff like that, honestly, looking at his palette versus those, his does look way more inclusive than theirs. You know what I mean? So moving on here, somebody else says, the package and concept are beautiful, but the shade range is not good. And then he responded to that and said, I said it wouldn't fit everyone, but I did make sure it will cover a ton of different skin tones. The average contour palette has 6 shades and mine has 10. So yeah, pretty good compared to what's on the market. And you know what? I do have to agree with him on that. A lot of contour palettes do only have 6 shades inside of it. And him coming out with 10 is really nice, but it's not about how many shades are in there, it's about the depth of the shades in there. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like him coming out with 2 palettes would have been so much better, because then he would have been able to cover everyone. It would have been make sure he would have been able to make sure that everyone can enjoy the palette. You get me? But sorry y'all, my camera just cut off out of nowhere. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and play a small clip from his actual launch video where he explains about the MOQ as well as him trying to be as inclusive as possible, so that way you guys can see it for yourself.
I truly feel in like my heart of hearts that this is one of the most inclusive palettes I could have ever made for the face, like genuinely from the bottom of my heart. I know it won't fit everyone under the sun and the moon, but it will fit so many people, and you'll be able to mix and match and create your customized shade for literally anything. You can use it on the eyes. Of course, I have this on my eyes today as well. I know I'll get comments of like, why didn't you create individual products? Why didn't you create individual bronzers? Why didn't you create individual highlighting shades? And the reason I didn't create individuals is because realistically, as a small indie brand, there's this thing called MOQs, right? So MOQs, I've talked about it on the podcast a little bit, but MOQs are a minimum order quantity per SKU. For example, this is a SKU, this is a SKU, this is a SKU. Like every item that you come out with in your brand is a SKU. A lot of brands have a minimum order quantity per SKU. So for example, let's just say I created these all individually, it's 10 shades, and the MOQ at the lab is 20,000 per shade. I would have to come out with 20 times 10, so that's 200,000 units. And the amount of capital that it takes for that is just, it's very hard when it comes to a smaller indie brand. The capital is really, really intense, and it's just like, okay, coming out with 200,000 SKUs. Whereas if you create one palette, you can create 20,000 of them because that is one SKU in itself. So I kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a like backstory on that as to why I didn't come out with individuals. And I didn't have at the time when I was creating this the connections I have now where I can create things in other places around the world because I've been working on this for so long.
So there you have it. Yeah, this is a very like difficult situation, I would say. I totally understand the whole MOQ thing, obviously going through that myself. However, I do feel like he could have cut it in half and came out with 2 different palettes to have a light to medium and then a dark to deep. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he has the funds for that, and I feel like he obviously could have done that, you know what I mean? However, like, I'm just going to keep on saying, I'm not defending him in any type of way, I'm just saying that this palette right here changed my perception of looking at imagery online. Honestly, I am now like, oh my gosh, maybe I need to see everything in person before making comments on it, because this palette specifically, like I said, it just really changed my perception of online imagery, because these shades, like, honestly, yes, this looks super light. You guys can see right here how light this looks, and imagine it under like bomb lighting, you know what I mean? My lighting is like really cheap from Amazon, but imagine underneath bomb lighting, it's going to appear even lighter, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that it comes out on the skin really, really pretty is a trip to me, because I look at this and I'm like, y'all, it looks ashy, it looks so pale, and on my skin it looks really, really good. And I'm kind of like light to medium skin tone, you know what I mean? I'm not on the like super, super light side. So anyways, y'all, you guys let me know your thoughts and opinions on everything. I feel kind of bad for him within this specific situation, because I know obviously he wants to be inclusive and his brand hasn't been called out for this before, but I just kind of feel like he has the funds to come out with 2 different palettes, not 2 different 10 shade palettes. I know that's a lot of shades, but like I said, he could have cut it in half and then came out with 2 different ones. But that's just my personal opinion. You guys can let me know what you guys think about everything, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out, Girl Scout.